So I was going about my day scrolling through Twitter. And yeah, I know some of you are going to be like, actually, it's called X. Bro, I do not care. And as I was scrolling, I came across this tweet. Oh man, this actually had me crying of laughter. Someone give this person the run Netflix show, because this was actually hilarious. And of course, it got a lot of attention. Everybody took the bait, including me. I saw this list and reacted like I'd just seen Dream's face reveal. I'm sure I don't need to explain to you guys why this is one of the worst takes ever. And given the profile picture and name of this user, I'm not surprised by this list. But let me just say, having Lewis anywhere outside the top 3 means either one of two things. 1, you hate the guy, or 2, you're just rage baiting. Seeing this ranking had me in tears laughing, but it also got me thinking, what are some other hot takes that F1 fans have come up with? Well, I decided to go back through the archives and search for exactly that. This fan on Reddit said back in 2022 that Sainz would win multiple drivers' championships. And I really tried to wrap my head around this one and go through all the possible scenarios where this actually happens, but for the life of me, I couldn't envision a universe where Sainz becomes a multiple-time champion. There's genuinely more of a chance him going to compete in the Olympics for breakdancing than this happening. It's crazy. Winning a championship is one thing. In my mind, this is definitely possible for a driver of Carlos's caliber. While he doesn't have the raw talent of his teammate or drivers like Max, Lewis, Fernando or Russell, and no, George is not a sneak. I truly believe he's a driver who could win multiple titles. But coming back to Sainz, the one scenario I can see him winning at least one championship is if he's in a dominant car. Because if you put any of the guys I just said in similarly matched machinery, he gets completely smoked. But let's say hypothetically we get a Braun 2009 situation in 2027. Williams suddenly find a huge loophole in the regulations and they're the best team on the grid. We get a fight for the title between Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz. And I'm not gonna lie, this is something I'd be excited to see. An intra-team battle between those two? Sign me up. At the end of the day though, that's a situation in which I see Carlos prevailing. But other than that, unless James Vowles leads Williams to another run of dominance, Carlos ain't winning more than one, if any. This person said a couple of years ago that Lando would never win a race.
Lando has landed!
But this wasn't the reason I included this take. It's actually the reply to it that is the most interesting to me. They said, agreed. He's so overhyped. He's not likable off track, he's not particularly great on track. Feels like you and I are the only two people who aren't absolutely enamored with Lando.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
And considering this was from 2 years ago, you would think they had a time machine. Because the way Lando's PR has just been eviscerated in the last few months has been one of the funniest things ever. And I'm sorry to the Lando fans listening, but I'm gonna have to go in. So you might want to mute this part of the video. Whenever this man has a car that can win a race, he decides to start putting up Tony Snell numbers. Like, my guy, you realize you can gain position to the start, right? Crofty may need to come up with a new opening commentary line specifically for Lando. Something like, it's lights out, and that tastes like demotion. You ask Lando, hey man, do you want to get a good start today? And he's just like,
No, baby.
and I find it hilarious how Max does not see this man as a threat.
How was your qualifying, Lando? Mine was good. I was kind of hoping you weren't going to be there.
Oh my god, bro.
I know, but I
Hell no,
can't.
man. What the man?
Lando was really moving like rice gum, talking about how if Max didn't apologize for ending his race in Austria, they'd no longer be friends.
Now, I'm really mad.
I know Max was just like this.
Oh, scary. Shut up, man.
Alright. As fun as it is taking the mick out of Lando though, it's also frustrating not seeing him achieve his full potential. Unlike what most have been saying, he's extremely talented. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, there's quotes of him talking a big talk, but not showing anything to back it up. He can also come across as having a bad attitude at times. But you know what? He's a human being, man. He said some dumb stuff, has a bit of a soft mentality, acts entitled from time to time. Oh, and I'll add, Oscar is infinitely more mature than him. He's also made mistakes in crucial moments. But at the end of the day, I stand by what I said. He's human. He's not going to be the most polished guy in the world. He's going to make mistakes like everybody else. And hopefully, he learns from them. I do feel a little bit for the few remaining Lando fans out there. You guys really must be fighting for your lives every single weekend, knowing that if he drops a stinker, the internet is going to roast him. But then at the same time, some of you don't help his case. Like, what is this? You're telling me, out of Checo going from last to first in a Racing Point, Max Verstappen jumping straight in a Red Bull and cooking as an 18-year-old, Gasly winning in an Alpha Tauri after being dumped by Helmut Marko, that a win that was basically gifted by a safety car has more aura than any of these? I forgot to mention Charles dedicating his first win to the late Antoine Hubert, Lewis and Daniel's first one in Montreal. Like, nah, this has to be the worst take out of the lot. Also, let me know what some of the worst takes you guys have seen down in the comment section below. I'm sure there'll be some pretty funny ones. Now remember Austria 2024? Lando and Max collide, everyone has a meltdown as to who's to blame, but what Crofty said after this incident, just listen to this.
It's not the first time that we've been talking about Max Verstappen in this way. He got a 10-second penalty for it. I don't know if 10 seconds was enough. I think in terms of the guidelines the stewards worked to, I can understand why they gave that 10 seconds. In the end, it had little or no bearing on his result after he came in to change tyres. Lando, of course, lost out and retired from the race after serving his 5-second penalty for the track limit violation. I'm not going to leave the calls for Max to get a grid penalty for the next race, but was a 10-second penalty enough, considering that his move resulted in one driver retiring and costing his own chance of the win?
This is the exact logic Verstappen fans used for Silverstone 2021, and at the time I called it nonsensical, because you can't punish a driver for the outcome of an incident. You can only punish them based on the incident itself. And in this case, you know what, actually, I'm not even going to get into analysing all that mess. But yeah, the problem with punishing a driver based on the outcome of an incident is that it's too subjective. Also, implying that Max deserved more than a 10-second penalty for this tiny bit of contact is insane. Like, I'm no Verstappen fan, but come on bro. This was nothing but a small brush that ended in something much more dramatic. If Lando didn't want to retire, maybe he shouldn't have torn the floor to shreds on his way into the pits. Some of the reactions to this incident were so damn over the top. You guys should really watch NASCAR, because what Austin Dillon did yesterday, bro, this guy was trying to be Chick Hicks so bad.
He does get to him. The 11 on the inside. He gets into the wall. Dillon's gonna win.
I hate it, but I had to do it.
Speaking of Max, it's been a hot minute since he's won a race, hasn't it? Not too long ago, this brother was dominating race after race, and we all thought it would continue for another 2 years. But as most of you probably know, after every race, F1 released their official power rankings for each driver's performance across a weekend. And for some reason, no matter what Verstappen did, this guy just couldn't get above a 9.6. Bahrain, pole, win, fastest lap. What does he get? 9.6. Jeddah, pole and win. What does he get? 9.6. Japan, pole, win, fastest lap. Take a wild guess what score he got. I'll give you a hint, it might be 9.6. China, pole, win. What does he freaking get? Oh nah.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
9.8. Let me repeat that. 9.8. I'm convinced these judges don't actually give these guys the score they deserve. They just score based on vibes. Cause how in the world does Alex Albon crash in the first practice session of a weekend, destroy his chassis, get bailed out by his teammate Sargent who now can't race because he doesn't have a car, and Alex gets rated a 7 for the weekend? Anyway, random side note, it's like Max became so dominant that the judges decided to cap him just so his score wouldn't get too high. If you ever want to look at some bad takes, you can always rely on these power rankings. And last, but by no means least, we have drivers talking about the halo. Now, as we know in hindsight, everyone is in favour of it. It saved the lives of Romain Grosjean, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Zhou Guanyu, and that's not even including other racing series where it's protected drivers from near certain death. It's one of the greatest innovations in the history of the sport. But back when it was first being proposed, these lot did not like it.
I think as soon as I have that thing on my car, I don't like it, and I'm not even sitting in the car. So the excitement is already gone before I'm even sitting in the car.
Yeah, I agree with Max. It takes away some of the passion that Formula 1 is all about. And you know, when you look at the car, if it's ugly, you know, Formula 1 cars aren't ugly. They're not meant to be ugly.
One of the few pro-Halo drivers was Felipe Massa, considering what happened to him at the 2009 Hungarian Grand Prix.
You know, this is more important than anything. You know, even if you change, it's not open car, is a closed car, but I mean the competition and everything will be the same, you know, so I'm really not against it.
It's actually crazy looking back just how much these guys hated it. 9 out of the 10 teams voted against it at the time, but thankfully the FIA mandated it for 2018. Probably the best thing they've ever done. But you want to talk about some of the worst takes from them? That's a whole different video entirely. I got some crazy ones for the next one, but we're going to end it there for now. Let me know if you enjoyed this style of video, and we'll see if we can make some kind of a series out of it. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're new to get my latest videos in the future. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.
So that was Verstappen.
Yo, F1. Listen, if you want people to watch your or more, listen, this is the last time I'll give you guys this advice. Add proximity chat, okay, in the cars. I want to hear this guy talk to this fucking bum. This is a bum move, and he deserves to be verbally abused in the comms. If you do dumb, you get verbally abused. I think that's fair game. That's fair game, because that's mechanically abusive on the field. There needs to be a punishment for that. It's weird. What a disgrace, man.